A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
Biden announces new military aid package for Ukraine. The president's latest tweet, dated May 17, praised U.S.
military officials for exceptional work in arming Ukraine. Meanwhile, Zelenskyy appealed for additional help to fend off Russia's invasion.
Meanwhile, Vice President Joe Biden praised the Ukrainian leader's bravery and said the speech was a compelling symbol of democracy's strength. The White House has frequent contact with Kyiv, and has conveyed the speech to U.S.
officials. As Zelenskyy appeals for more help in staving off Russia's invasion.
The Ukrainian President Sergei Zelenskyy has commended French President Emmanuel Macron for true leadership during the war. In a video address to the French Parliament, Zelenskyy calls on France to provide more planes and other support for the country.
In a previous meeting, he said he had discussed the situation with Russian President Vladimir Putin. A video of buses leaving Mariupol has circulated on social media, showing the thousands of people who have fled.
Ukraine has not closed its skies to Russian aircraft or missiles, but it lacks modern air defense systems and fighter jets. The country also needs tanks and anti-ship systems to help protect its citizens.
Zelenskyy's appeal for international help contrasts with that of Russian President Vladimir Putin in his speech Monday. Putin went on to attack Ukraine's government and its leaders, calling it a terrorist nation, and claiming it has no right to interfere in Ukraine's internal affairs.
Zelenskyy also called on the West to do more. He said he believed Moscow's response was comically funny.
However, he also asked for more financial aid, which could be a huge boost for Ukraine's economy. The president has also promised to meet with Putin to discuss ways to prevent further Russian invasion.
If that fails, Zelenskyy will make another appeal to the U.S. Congress.
Since the start of the Russian offensive, 1.2 million people have fled into Poland, while more than 141,500 arrived in Poland from Ukrainian territory on Monday and Sunday. Despite the conflict, several high-ranking Russian generals have died in the Donbas.
One of them, Vladimir Frolov, was buried in St. Petersburg.
This makes him the 42nd highest-ranking Russian officer to die during a war. Russian forces have also cut off water and electricity in Mariupol for days.
The true death toll is not yet known, but the Ukrainian president says nearly 100,000 people are trapped in the ruins of the city. However, as of Saturday, more than 7,000 people escaped Mariupol from the city.
The Swiss Attorney General's office is gathering evidence from Ukraine refugees as a way to investigate possible international crimes and embargo violations. A growing number of Kremlin insiders believe that the Russian invasion of Ukraine was a disastrous mistake.
Critics say there is little hope of Putin reversing his course or facing any sort of challenge at home. Some even share fears that if he fails in his mission, he may use nuclear weapons to defend his regime.
Moreover, the Russian Defense Ministry has banned the website of German newspaper Bild, a pro-Russian publication, which is reporting the situation now. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir
Putin has mocked President Biden's plans to visit Europe next week. In the meantime, Biden will use his trip to emphasize the unity of NATO against Russian aggression.
But the White House has yet to confirm the news. The White House has been making its own appeals for more support and help in staving off Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Biden praises U.S. military officials for exceptional work in arming Ukraine.
President Joe Biden has praised U.S. military officials for their exceptional work in arming Ukraine.
Last week, Biden brought together the top brass of U.S. military to discuss the new assistance package.
The million package includes long-range artillery and 11 Mi-17 helicopters, a deal that drew criticism from the Ukrainian government and the Russian military. Earlier, Vice President Joe Biden praised the U.S.
military for their exceptional work in arming Ukraine. He also praised the Ukrainian military for its toughness and determined efforts to fend off Russian aggression.
The $5 billion package is part of a $6 billion package for the country, which includes additional funds to counter cyber threats and sanctions against Russia. President Joe Biden has also expressed his own support for Ukraine, but a recent poll shows that American sentiment toward getting involved has waned.
While 32% of Americans believe the U.S. should play a major role in the conflict, that number has dropped to 32% since February.
Meanwhile, 49% believe they should only play a minor role, which is more than half of the population.
While the situation in Ukraine has been getting worse, the U.S.is still committed to helping the Ukrainian people.
It is important to note that if there is no political solution, the war in Ukraine will continue. Until then, President Obama will continue to send military personnel to the Ukraine and ask Congress to provide additional funding.
By then, however, the U.S. will have exhausted its authorized drawdown authority and will be forced to seek additional aid in the future.
In addition, Biden has announced a humanitarian parole program for Ukrainians with USTs.
Those who are eligible to apply could enter the U.S. directly.
President Biden hosted US military leaders and spouses for dinner in the White House Blue Room before announcing new package of assistance.
The meeting was scheduled to be held as part of a series of visits to India. Biden also thanked U.S.
military officials for exceptional work in arming Ukraine. Russian flagged Pegasus carrying 19 Russian crew members was impounded in the eastern part of the Evia Peninsula on Wednesday.
The European Union has imposed sanctions on Russia for not complying with these measures, and Germany, which was a key partner in the arming of Ukraine, has not yet responded to Ukraine's proposal. Meanwhile, Russia is set to take delivery of its new Sarmat missile this year, once testing is completed.
Moreover, Russia's Baltic consulates have been closed and employees have been displaced from the Estonian consulate. Biden asks for sanctions on Russian politicians.
While it's possible that Joe Biden will ask Congress to impose new sanctions on Russian politicians, it's unlikely that this action will change the outcome of the Ukraine crisis. Biden and his team are seeking to bolster a coalition to lock Putin out of the Russian government.
But what kind of measures would that mean? We'll soon find out. In the meantime, here's a list of possible measures to take.
The United States has announced new financial sanctions on 12 Duma members this month, but this new measure will be even more aggressive than the previous sanctions. One senior administration official called the new sanctions very sweeping.
The Europeans have already exhausted their military options and are largely dependent on Russian energy. As a result, Biden is asking for additional sanctions on Russian politicians to put a further squeeze on the Kremlin.
The United States and the EU must act quickly to stop the Russian aggression in the eastern part of Ukraine. As of now, oil prices have soared in the past year due to fears that Russia is a threat to global energy security.
Thus has already sent anti-tank and surface-to-air weapons to Ukraine in an attempt to stop the Russian forces from targeting its citizens. However, the United States and NATO have balked at imposing a no-fly zone over Ukraine and flying Soviet-era warplanes to Kyiv.
As a result of these new sanctions, the oligarchs will no longer be able to keep their luxury vacation homes and yachts. Their American assets will be frozen.
Additionally, the US government has announced that sanctions on the Russian government's Ministry of Finance and the National Wealth Fund of the Russian Federation will also be implemented. The new sanctions, which will take effect immediately, will further punish Russia's leaders.
In response, the Russian Foreign Ministry has placed a ban on more than a dozen Americans. In a response to the Biden administration's economic sanctions on Russia over the invasion of Ukraine, the Russian Foreign Ministry has said it plans to target more U.S.
lawmakers, media, and officials. While US
officials have been banned from visiting Russia, the sanctions do not prevent high-level contacts. The European Union and the United Kingdom have also announced similar measures.
The United Kingdom and Australia have also expressed their support. The EU and the European Union have also urged the United States to cut Russia from the global financial messaging network SWIFT.
The White House has resisted this measure because it would likely raise global energy prices. However, the president's remarks on Thursday imply that Biden is trying to push the decision on Russia's behalf.
In addition to the president's request, the US Congress has already put the names of several top officials under sanctions. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, and CIA Director William Burns have all been named in the list.
The president also asked for patience in implementing new sanctions on the Russian government. If the U.S. is really serious about enforcing sanctions on Russia, it'll be the best thing we can do for the country.